drive charging.
But, maybe they'll say.
Launch and
You're clear to plot your own course.
Fuck off!
We look forward to your return, Commander.
doubled as hibernation pods during long journeys. When it came to warfare, the Guardians relied initially on the blade-like protrusions on their forearms, and later on simple weapons like spears and bows. As they entered the technological era, they developed electromagnetic projectile weapons, utilizing the same technology they used to launch their first spacecraft. They also developed extremely effective shields, capable of protecting entire cities, and even of withstanding orbital bombardment.
Frameshift drive charging.
At that time, however, large-scale conflict was virtually unheard of, and it was not...
Actually, a little bit there reminded me. Remember I was saying about the that world was thing. A spin-off of that is just humans being weird by alien standards. Like again, it was some Tumblr post. I was gonna go say 4chan, but Tumblr post. The idea was basically going by like traditions of space war. The planet would probably surrender if their navy was destroyed because, well, they can't really defend themselves now. Humans now, they just have like continent-spanning shields because they end up kind of nuking each other tons, so they kind of need it, which disturbs alien forces. Really? Again, it was just some random post. Some of these are a little weak in my opinion, but they can be good for a read. Ah. So yeah, just remember that there.
Until the conflict with the Thargoids, that further military innovations were made. The Guardian's Second Civil War was fought principally with bespoke biological weapons employed by the traditionalists and automated war machines used by the progressives. The shields that protected the Guardian cities were unable to resist these new weapons, forcing many of the Guardians to withdraw into heavily fortified settlements. But the Guardians' most significant technological achievements were unarguably the creation of the Monolith Network and the development of artificial intelligence. The use of neural implants to connect the Guardians with their creations could have ushered in a whole new era of scientific and technological discovery, but unfortunately, these innovations were to lead only to the Guardians' destruction. The Guardians. Language. The Guardians shared a single language, with only minor regional variations, and even after they colonized other planets, they continued to share a common tongue. The Guardians had three primary forms of communication: a spoken language, a gestural language, and a written language. Their spoken language emerged first, followed by a gestural language that allowed them to communicate silently while hunting. This sign language formed the basis of their written language. Consequently, while their written and gestural languages correlated closely, their spoken language was largely distinct. The Guardian's spoken language was used principally to communicate emotional concepts and played a central role in social bonding, while their written language was used mainly to communicate formal and practical ideas. Significantly, their written language was logographic, meaning the words and phrases were represented by single characters.
Lakon, Papa Alpha Lima. Federal Flight Control would like to welcome you to this facility. Access granted.
Oh, an owl like you is always welcome here. Nice!
Confirmed.
The Guardians. Human Guardian contact. In 3301, the federal presidential vessel, Starship One, suffered catastrophic drive failure during a tour of Frontier Systems, resulting in the ship's destruction. Jasmina Halsey, at that time the federal president, was left drifting in an escape pod, unconscious. During this period of stasis, Halsey believed she was visited by transdimensional beings of extraordinary intelligence and compassion. Later, when she was rescued and revived, she was left with the conviction that this experience had been real and not merely a hallucination. Halsey proceeded to experience visions of mysterious alien
Landing gear deployed.
worlds and cities, dense metropolises, full of activity and life. She shared these visions with the rest of humanity, prompting explorers to settle
Docking completed. Power down systems.
in search of these undiscovered planets. This led to the discovery of the first Guardian ruins in the Sinuev XRH D11102 system. The fact that these sites were devoid of life led to speculation that Halsey had seen the Guardian worlds not as they are, but as they had been.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
In the months that followed, several further sites were found. The engineer Ram Tar started researching the Guardians and eventually succeeded in developing a decryption algorithm that could decode Guardian
Landing gear retracted.
data, leading to a much deeper understanding of their new civilization. Since then, other engineers have leveraged Ram Tar's discoveries to develop Guardian human technology. Individuals: Aidan Tanner.
Our species has been banding together to fight the outsider since we lived in caves. We stand against the lawless, the invaders, and the monsters. And we're proud to do it. But you have to remember one thing. Nobody in the history of conflict ever saw himself as a monster. Everyone believes they're the hero of their own story. If you can't understand that, if you can't stand in the enemy's shoes, even for a second, and ask yourself why he thinks he needs to kill you, then you don't know what it means to be a soldier.
Aidan Tanner, addressed to Federal Cadets, 3298. Admiral Aidan Tanner is a senior officer in the Federal Navy. He has served for more than 4 decades, and in 3303 was given significant responsibility in the struggle against the Thargoid.
Frameshift drive charging.
First being appointed to Chief of Federal Security, and later to Chief Military Liaison for the Cross Superpower Initiative, Aegis. He is widely respected, even outside of space, for his conscientious and level-headed approach to conflict. Born in 3254, Tanner was expected to follow in the footsteps of his authoritarian father by becoming a doctor, but instead enlisted in the Federal Navy, along with a group of friends, in what he would later describe as a rash act of adolescent rebellion that I have
Fuel scoping.
once regretted.
Fuel scope disengaged.
Tanner's father died in 3277. The two never resolved their estrangement. Tanner's early naval career was anything but distinguished. Known to his comrades in arms as Spoonie for his habit of eating directly from food packets instead of using plates, he was distinguished more by his irreverent sense of humor than his competence. 6 months in, Tanner
Frameshift drive charging.
was found to be responsible for a scurrilous newsletter that satirized several senior officers, including Sergeant Burke Hazel, who was offended and deeply hurt. Hazel had taken a personal interest in Tanner.
3, 2,
and had encouraged him to persist when the cadet had struggled with basic training. Tanner's defense that he had been trying to improve morale was rejected, and although he was allowed to continue his service, he was marked as potential insubordinate, a label that would later return to haunt him. Tanner's chief instructional officer, Commander Myra Dunstock, warned him to take military life more seriously. She took Tanner to a refugee facility, an experience he would later characterize as showing him what the military is there to prevent. Tanner recognized a last chance when he saw it, discarded his...
Yeah, depends. Really depends, doesn't it? Sometimes they're there to cause it.
as camp comedian and threw himself into his training with unprecedented energy. The decisive incident in Tanner's career was the Autolycus mutiny of 3271. At the time, Tanner was serving as chief gunnery officer on board the FDM Autolycus, a Farragut-class battlecruiser under the command of Captain Jaden Horn. The ship was dispatched to restore order at Cold Harbor Station, which had been occupied by rebels following a descent into civil disorder. Captain Horn's orders were to monitor the station and await reinforcements. But when contact with the station was abruptly lost, he became convinced an attack was imminent. Surveillance footage later showed Horn acting in an increasingly erratic fashion. He screamed orders, slurred his words, and struck an ensign for making a minor mistake. Seeing a group of civilian ships preparing to leave the station, Horn ordered Tanner to open fire, convinced they were about to ram the Autolycus. Tanner refused to obey the order, claiming it was unlawful and that Horn was unfit to command. In the time it took for a furious Horn to have Tanner thrown in the brig, the escaping ships had jumped out of the system. At Tanner's court-martial, Horn tried to use his history of rebelliousness against him, but an explosive series of revelations followed. The escaping ships had been carrying evacuees, and the station's apparent silence was in fact due to Horn himself, who had disabled shipborne communications without telling his crew. Horn, who it would later emerge had been suffering from nexalamine-induced psychosis, committed suicide mid-trial by hijacking a fighter and detonating a grenade inside the cockpit. Tanner was exonerated, receiving a commendation from President Antonia Madison for his actions.
Bit dramatic, isn't he? Then again, psychosis, but he's not only steals the ship, but then frags himself. It's just like, no, you could have just had to gone to a brothel, engaged in some autoerotic, well, not a brothel, gone to a hotel room, engaged in some autoerotic asphyxiation gone wrong. I don't know, the traditional way.
Individuals. Aisling Duval.
My grandfather had an heirloom he used to keep in our winter palace. It was a priceless marble statuette of one of our ancestors standing with his foot on a woman's neck, while she looks up at him in fear or adoration, probably both. I loathed it. It was commissioned to commemorate some victory or other, but that wasn't the point of the thing. The message was clear, and it's the same one I've heard all my life. Deep down, the people we dominate are happy to be dominated. When I was 6 years old, I smashed...
That's true for some people, but tends to be less, well, they tend to involve more whips and gimp suits.
The servants came running. My father stormed down the stairs in his gown. He asked if it was an accident. There was such a strange look in his eyes. I knew that if I said yes, nobody would argue. Nothing more would be said. But I didn't. I stamped my foot and said, "No, Daddy. I did it on purpose." It's the same with tradition. The people who pass it on think it's precious. They expect you to cherish it and pass it on in turn. But what they think doesn't matter, because the responsibility rests with you. If you know it's wrong, then you have to smash it. On purpose.
Aisling Duval. A fight.
Lakon Papa Alpha Lima, bolts to Alliance territory. Please approach the station at a safe speed, Commander.
Serena.
Adjust heading for approach to
3301.
pad 37.
Great to see you again.
Precision approach. Use of docking computer has been sanctioned.
Princess Aisling Duval, born in 3276, is a prominent member of the Imperial royal family. The eldest child of the infamous Prince Harold, she had a troubled upbringing. Her father was notorious for his hedonistic lifestyle, while her mother, entertainer Imogen Eccentrica Gabriellini, died from an aneurysm shortly after Aisling's birth. The autopsy identified the cause of death as an overdose of purple sunflower, an obscure and expensive narcotic, but conspiracy theorists insisted that she was murdered to remove an embarrassment to the royal family. Aisling has indicated that she is aware of these rumors, but has never commented on them. Despite living a life of great privilege, Aisling has publicly embraced the cause of the lesser
Landing gear deployed.
and become an outspoken opponent of slavery, something that has made her the target of fierce criticism from more traditionalist imperialists. But despite this criticism, Aisling is a popular figure with a widespread media presence.
Ship is on the deck, engaging Padra streams.
Her campaigning has brought definite benefits to many of the poorest in Imperial society, and gone some way towards easing tensions between the Empire and the Federation. Her critics, however, dismiss her as a puppet, doing the bidding of a shadowy circle of advisors. They claim there is no underlying coherence to Aisling's policies. To them, she is a naive and sentimental child, without the necessary experience for politics, backing one populist cause after another, always conscious of how her activism is affecting her brand. Significantly, the most savage of Aisling's critics and the staunchest of her defenders agree on a counterpoint to this, that her apparent vacuity is nothing but a front, carefully created in collusion with the very advisors whom others believe are exploiting her. The People's Princess, they argue, is exceptionally good at being underestimated.
The Columbo of the Elite Dangerous series. Setting. Minus the detective, but whatever. I do hate how few optional internal slots these have. I do hate that, but you work with what you get. You work with what you got. Now that's nice, but not everything can be the timeline heavy. Wait, timeline heavy. That's the combat iteration, ain't it? No, that is it's the Type 10 Defender. Yeah. I would love it, but I would have to do a lot more trips with my current ship if I wanted to keep it, if I wanted to get it. Let me just do a quick little check. Alliance Crusader. Alliance Crusader, Elite Dangerous. Cargo capacity and max is 122. So little better than what I currently have. The Chieftain can go up to 120, while the Challenger can go up to 152. Yeah, I'm gonna go for this. I could make it cheaper by selling my current ship, but I like it. The current ship's good, and it'll be handy for exploring. So I'm going to store it. But I am going to have to switch back straight away and strip out the good parts of it, so I can bung them into this. You can see that's in a auto launch. I wish I could strip off mods without having to switch to it. It would save me a load screen, but whatever. I want to give the Alliance Crusader a shot. If I've made a poor choice, it's not that much money in the grand scheme of things. Not with this great trade route. I just need to find a better ship for it. Like, this is fast enough, but I would like even better. Again, I wish you didn't have to sit through all the animations. I wish you could at least, you know, get everything moving, you know? Even if you had this, like, you couldn't leave the page till they're all done or something. At least if you could get all of them moving rather than having to sit for each one individually. That'd be nice. I'm looking forward to the FPS expansion. Yeah, it'll save me some money. And for my next trick, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun. Though again, I am awkward. I do feel awkward about actually trying to communicate with people and say do group stuff. The friends words still sting. Oh, same one. Ugh. Don't need any of these. Oh, slightly depreciated in value. Wait. Well. Yeah, no, I misunderstood it for a moment there. Let's see. I can move on this. Can't hear though. Again, the game has a running theme of tedium. Ooh. It's got a better one by default. Alright. Doesn't have a better FSD though. Does it have a better? No, this is better. Transfer. No. Okay, I can't swap it out for what I already have. Seriously? Huh. Suppose it makes sense, but it's did not know that. They don't have an advanced docking computer. Alright then. We're gonna have to switch again. I hope there's a confirmation message before you actually sell the stored ship. I am not testing to find out. Yeah, one issue for this is it gets 3 military compartments. And they're restricted to only these. So it's a nuisance. Over a greater period? I don't get it. Ooh, jeez. The cost if I lose it. Ooh. I'd like to get that, but I can't afford it right now. So, there's different ones. Anti-Xeno fixed multi-cannon. Two fixed beams, one heat sink, two fixed plasma, one chaff, two fixed pulse, one gimbal pulse, two gimbal beam. This is the highest DPS, but it's an anti-Xeno thing, so I think that's it wouldn't work as well against a human ship. Yeah, go with you, so. And crew lounge. I come from a long line. I come from a long line of spacefarers. You could say I'm carrying on a family tradition. I went through quite a sticky divorce, and after that, I needed to change my life. Maybe because I left with nothing. I was part of a task force that delivered vital medicine to Auroch's orbiter. Saved a lot of lives. My parents were both scientists, but never wanted to go into family business, so it was a pilot's life for me. As much as I loved my previous vocation, I still didn't feel in control of my destiny. I had to make a change, and here I am. When Mariana Pro Alliance Party offered kill orders on unwanted ships in their system, it was an offer I couldn't refuse, and more bounty vouchers than I can remember in that one. I've done my time, and I could fly like you wouldn't believe. Never did make it into the Pilots Federation, though. They wouldn't let me fly anymore, so I had to go into business for myself. It was the right choice. Close protection duty for mining convoys certainly improves skills. Palanai makes for an attractive target, yet the company never seemed to hire enough protection, which made the fights touch and go sometimes. I come from a long line of miners. Got so I could fly that mining craft with my eyes shut. Had a best friend. We did everything together until he was killed in a pirate raid. Vowed to find the culprits and hired on as crew to find them. I've earned my stripes in the big black more than once. You only start to show your mettle when you're outnumbered and outgunned, and come through the other side. Used to fly as a space dredger. Not the most glamorous work, but it was honest. I needed to spread my wings a little, try something new. Never comfortable describing specific moments, so, unless your day is difficult to cross. But I'm still here, and that counts for something. Sure. they have a one-off hiring cost and a percentage profit over any made. They earn percentage profit share over any made profits. Includes commodity trades, exploration missions, and vouchers. And okay. I've only collector limpet and no repairer, but that's just the reality of how limited slots I have. Oh, those ships are really cheap to buy. Jesus.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
Mission board. And the value here. Back ops contract. They're illegal most systems. We greatly regret asking you to destroy our enemies en masse, but these are extreme circumstances. We'll now increase notoriety by killing mission targets for duration of this mission. Systems authority response will be jammed the location of any mission-related signal source.